Okay, hello everyone. I'm Apocalypse the Geek Guru, and today I'm going to be going over Moon Knight Episode 2. I forget what the hell the name of this episode is. Summon the Suit, I think. Uh, so anyway, let's get right into it. Uh, so the episode starts off with not Mark, Steven waking up in bed, and he's like, freaks out and like starts to run because the last thing he remembers he was about to be attacked by a jackal. So he wakes up screaming and he starts running out of his bed, but he forgets that he's tied to the freaking thing, and then it's pretty funny. He like slips and falls forward, like it's caught up, and smashes his face right into the ground. And then he gets up and he goes to the mirror, and he's just like, "You there, Mark? Huh? You there?" Like trying to, get him out, and he's just like, "Yeah, I didn't think so." So then he goes to work and he sees that they're like roping stuff off. They're trying to fix stuff because from the end of the last episode, he completely screwed up the bathroom. And then he walks up to the security guy and he starts asking him like, "Hey, have you looked at the security footage yet?" And the guy's like, "No, I haven't." He's like, "All right, well, let's go check it out. Like, I might have something to say about it. I might have some information." But he goes up to the security guy, and he's like, "All right, but before you watch this, this is gonna change. This is gonna blow your mind. It's gonna be some Area 51, MI6 bonkers, bro, stuff." And the security guy's just like, all right, whatever, let's watch this stuff. And we see the security footage, but it's completely edited to where you don't see the jackal or anything, which we actually learn later in the episode that Mark and Steven, whatever, they're the only ones who can see the jackal. Nobody else can even see the damn thing. So that's crazy. And it doesn't show up on the security tape, for one, and two, the rest of it's edited, so he doesn't. All he sees is like the guy, and the security guy. The whole time, the security guy is just like, "Oh, dude, come on, man." And he sees, they see him run into the bathroom, and the security guy's just like, "Dude, you're the one that messed up the bathrooms? Like, what the hell?" Like, oh my god. So then we see him like walk out, and he tells the guy like, fast forward to when I come out, to see the thing, because I don't know if he noticed, like if he saw the suit and everything come on, but we see him walk out of the bathroom, and he looks up at the camera, and the security guard's just like, "Dude, it's still just you," and Steven's just like, "That's not me," and because he's like, Mark's literally just like looking at the camera. Like, I know you're watching this probably the next day wondering. I thought that was kind of funny. Because Mark's obviously like, he's like a super like spy dude with like, whose powers he confirms in this episode, like his powers do come from a god. So obviously he can edit a tape. Like he's aware of where the cameras and everything are. So anyway, then it cuts to I keep wanting to call Steven Mark. Whatever, they're the same body. Who cares? So Steven, it cuts to Steven. He's sitting in like the art gal, the manager of the museum or whatever, and they're telling him like, hey, they're basically just telling him like, "Hey, you're fired, but we're not going to press charges or anything. Oh, here's a pamphlet to like a self-help place." So then it cuts to him. He's back, and he's talking to the statue dude again. Who, I guess the statue dude is just like that's just his day. That's just his life. Like every day that he's just there all day, I guess. And he's telling Steven's sitting there like, "Hey, maybe I should go find the locker," because remember he has the key to like a locker, like some sort of safety deposit, like a personal storage place. And he's like, "I'm gonna go check that out and see what's in the locker." to prove that I'm not crazy. And he's like, thank you, you're thanks for all your help. And it's funny, he goes to hug the guy, and it's the only time we see the statue guy kind of move. He just like looks down at the, he just kind of looks down at him like, oh my God. So, and it cuts to, I almost called him Mark again, Steve, old Stevie boy. He walks into the personal storage place, and he's like, hey, you're like the 5th place I've been to. I have a key. I'm looking for my storage locker. Is there any way you can help me out? It could be under Stephen Grant or Mark. I don't know the last name. And then the guy, it's kind of funny. The guy behind the desk is like, yeah, I know you. It's number 43. I'll never forget a face. Like I thought that was pretty funny. It's a good way to just move everything along pretty quick. Like let's not have need. It's like, no, I remember you. Yeah, your locker's 43. Come on. So he takes him to his locker, and then the guy kind of walks away. And Steven walks into the locker, and it's like it looks like a military, like an army thing. It's even got like a little cot and everything. Let me show you. It's got like a little cot and all of these little boxes full of stuff. Apparently this is Mark's little safe house that he goes to when he's not Steven, or when Steven's not in control. So he walks into there, and he's obviously just like, what the hell? Like, what is this place? Like, what is going on? And he finds this duffel bag next to the cot, and he looks through it, and he's just like, oh my God. And he pulls out a gun. I just love the way he holds it. Like, he literally holds it like this. Like, he's just like, oh my God, just totally unsafe. And then he keeps looking through it, and there's all this money for like different countries and stuff, just like stacks of like money and a passport. And then he sees like the passport has his picture obviously, but it says Mark Spector, and he's just like, Mark Spector. So that's when we learn that this is Mark Spector, who I've recently learned was the original Moon Knight from the comics and stuff. So he's just like, looking through all this stuff, and then he finds the scarab. The scarab was like tucked away in the bag. And it's funny, he presses the thing, and it pops up and starts hovering like this. Like, let me show you. So it starts hovering like this, and pointing around, like moving around and stuff. And he's just, he figures out that it's a compass, but it's not pointing north. So anyway, Mark pops up and in the mirror, and he's just like, hey, they have this funny little back and forth where he's just like, Steven's just like, oh hey, there he is, the man in the mirror, and Mark's just like, it's like, I know you're scared, and he's just like, yeah, a little. He's just like, I know you're confused. And he's like, you weren't supposed to see any of this. And Steven's just like, no, well, we're a bit late for that, huh? I just love his like Brit, like he's just so British. He's like, oh yeah, well, it's a bit late for that, isn't it? And he's just like, so what am I, some sort of mad secret agent or something? And Mark goes, it's a little more complicated than that. And then Steven goes, more complicated? What am I, possessed? So Mark starts going in and telling him that, like, oh, you're in danger, but I can help us, just like I did last night. And he's like, I'll tell you what you're going to do. You're going to go back and lay down on that cot, and you're going to have a nice little nap. He's like, what? And Steven's just like, what are you kidding? No, I'm not sleeping ever again. He has one of the funniest lines I've ever heard. He goes, look, I don't care how handsome you are. And I love that. Because it's his... that's great. That is just... It's good to see Marvel injecting some really good comedy back into their stuff. Like, can we get some, like... They're doing pretty good right now. Like I said, I like this. I like this episode. I like the show so far. Let's hope it doesn't fall off. So anyway, Steven's just like, okay, I want to know what's going on, what we are, what's happening. So Mark tells him, he goes, I serve Khonshu. I'm his avatar. Uh, and he goes, which means you are too. And he starts talking, we protect the vulnerable and all, bring justice. And Steven's just like, Khonshu, the Egyptian god of the moon. And Mark's like, yep. Just like, yep, I'm afraid so, buddy. Then Steven just turns around and is like, oh my god, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I have one steak and I lose my mind. Oh man. And then he sits down and like starts having a panic attack. And he's just like, I think I need to go to hospital. Can't you just say the British people? Is it that hard to say the hospital? Jackasses. So anyway, Mark's just like, come on, you gotta give me your body, you gotta let me have control. And Steven's just like, no. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take this bag of illegal stuff and I'm gonna take it to the authorities and then they're gonna lock me up and maybe give me enough pills that will make you go away. So then all the lights start flickering again. And he's standing in he runs out and he's standing in the hallway and all the lights just go off and then we see Khonshu now. He's appearing in the light and he just keeps appearing, like flickering behind him. And then he starts chasing him. He runs around the corner and he runs right into Khonshu and Khonshu's just like, give it back, fool, because he's got the scarab and stuff too in the bag. Which, remember, the scarab is like really important and what they're looking for. So he screams, and they have this weird sort of like freeze frame for a second when he on his screaming face. It's like, ah! And then it cuts to him like running out of the building, and he trips and falls because he's totally incompetent. And a motorcycle pulls up, and it's Layla, and she's just like, oh, I found you. I tracked you on I tracked your cell phone. I figured that's what you wanted me to do when you turned it back on. And she starts talking about like, oh, I thought you were in danger. I thought you were kidnapped again. But, I figured, oh, it's okay. And like, what, he's got the suit. So she knows about the suit and about, Moon Knight. Which I don't even know if they call him, like, I don't think that's what he's called yet. So, but anyway, so she's obviously knows about Mark Spector, and she mentions that he's married, like they're married. And he's obviously just like, what? He's just like, what the hell's going on? And she's just like, you can drop the act. Like, I think we got away from them. You can stop with the accent. And he's just like, this is how I talk. What do you mean? And she's just like, all right, get off the bike. And he's like, no. Just take me to my home. Like, just get me home. Get me out of here. So they get to his apartment, and she starts walking around and like looking at his stuff, because apparently Mark doesn't speak French, I guess, or know hieroglyphics. So she's just like, oh, you speak, she's reading poems that he has, and like looking at his hieroglyphics and stuff. And Steven's like, learning that she knows, like they have the same like favorite poet or whatever. And like she speaks hieroglyphics, so he's kind of like, hey, this girl's nice, I like her. And she's just like, all right, whatever, I'm not buying this, quit it, Mark. Like, hey, let's get this over with. She goes into her bag and pulls out like some papers, and she's like, here, sign this. And Steven's like, hey, what's this? And apparently some divorce papers, and she's just like, hey, you wanted to spend time away, do this or that, go our separate ways. And Steven's just like, look, you seem amazing. And Mark is obviously an asshole. And Mark he looks over at Mark's face in the mirror, and Mark's just like, scoffs. And he's just like, look, I have this. I'm not Mark. Let me explain. And he goes over to the bag with all of the passport and the scarab and all this, and he he's like, look, look at this bag, look at all this stuff, and the most, and he's about to tell her about the scarab, and we just hear Mark the whole time. Mark's just like, don't show her the bag, don't show her the bag, get her out of here, you know. And as soon as Steven's about to tell her about the scarab, Mark goes, if you tell her about, like, he just basically says, like, if you show her it, you'll put her in danger, like, you'll get her killed. And that's when Steven kind of stops, and he's like, oh, he kind of realizes, because again, he likes her, he just met her, he's known her for all of like 2 minutes, and he's just, but he's kind of a loser, and he's like, oh, you like hieroglyphics and French poetry too? Ooh, I like you, whatever. So anyway, she's just like, what's in the bag? And she literally pushes him to the side and looks through the bag, and she finds the scarab. And apparently she knows what the scarab is, and that it points to Amit's tomb or whatever. Which, remember, Amit is the other Egyptian god worshipped by Ethan Hawke, and Ethan Hawke's character. I don't know if Ethan Hawke actually worships her. I don't know. I don't know his religion. I don't care. Good on him for that. So anyway, she's just like, oh, we fought side by side for this. So apparently she and Mark have been looking for it for like a long time. And, she's like, oh, so you just wanted to keep it for yourself and this and that. And he's just like, no, you can keep it. Keep it. I don't care. I don't want it. I swear. I'm not Mark Spector. I'm Stephen Grant. I work at a gift shop. I think you're the only person that can help me. And she's just like, oh, you really don't remember? He's just like, you don't remember our life together? And he's just like, I wish I could, So then a knock on the door. A knock on the door, and they're just like, hey, open up, Stephen Grant. And it turns out that it's the police. They're there, and she's just like, well, why are the police here? He's just like, I vandalized the bathrooms. Which, he's an idiot, because it's like, they already told him that they weren't going to press charges. And he opens the door for he doesn't open the door. He's just like, oh, no. They're like, hey, can we come in? And he's just like, oh, no, not really. And they literally, push past him. And push past him. That should have been a red flag right there, dude. Like, I mean, I don't know how cops are in Britain, but any cop is just like, they look shady as hell, too. Like, they act shady. One of them's chewing gum. That's a red flag right there, man. I'm kidding. Still. So they push past him, and they walk in, just walk through his apartment. And it's funny, one of them sees the rope tied to his bed and stuff. And he's just like, I have a sleeping disorder. And, it's kind of funny, at least I think it's funny. The guy's like, holds up this little, he holds up this little thing, and he's just like, what's this? And Steven's like, it's a paperweight. And the guy's like, where'd you get it? A paperweight shop. Now, the reason I found that funny is because I'm, in my head, I'm just thinking that, this dude likes that and wants to get one of his own, for himself, of his own, he wants to get his own for his office or whatever. I'm stupid. I just thought that was funny. So, anyway, they're looking around, and Layla is hiding on the outside, right here. That's one of the cops. That is not Layla. That is Layla hiding on the outside. So she's right there. That is Layla. So the cops find the bag. They find the bag with all this stuff in it, and they find his passport that doesn't have has not his name on it, and they're just like, oh, a thief, a fake passport for a thief. We're gonna take you downtown. So they arrest him and put him in the car, and they're driving down. Which, it's weird. It's now nighttime. I just realized that. Now I'm going over it again. It was as you just saw right there when I showed you Layla, it's the middle of the day. And now it's the middle of the night. Like, let me show you. It's the middle of the night. Like, what? I don't get. Has it been like six? How long did it take them to get him into the car? It's like, all right, we're gonna take you downtown, but first, is that The Godfather? All right, we're gonna sit down and watch that real quick, and then we're gonna take you downtown. It's like, what the hell, man? We're gonna take you downtown, but first, I see you have the extended edition of The Lord of the Rings. Like, why the hell is it nighttime? Poor editing, guys. Poor editing. I mean, not that I'm like a master at it, but still, come on. Oh man, a little continuity, can we? Can we get some? Whatever. So anyway, they start looking up Mark Spector, and apparently he's like a mercenary who killed a bunch of people at like a dig site or something. And Steven's just like, oh, that's not me. I didn't do that. I didn't do that. So they pull up to like an alleyway. Like, pull up into an alley in like a neighborhood and stuff. And he's just like, oh, I thought we were going to the police station. And it's funny because even the cop is just like, now why would you, he looks into the mirror, he's just like, now why would you think that? Even the cop is just like, dude, why would you think that? What possibly made you think that we were going to the police station? We're two shady cops. But when he goes to like move the mirror, we see that he has like the same scale tattoo as everybody else in this organization. So they get out the car, and Mark's just like, give me control. Mark starts talking to Steven again. He's just like, give me control. I can get us out of this. A soccer ball like smacks into the window and scares the shit out of Steven. And he's like, hey, help me. And the kid, is it a kid? I can't tell. Looks like a kid or a teenager. They're really short because they're like, whoever it is, it turns out they've got the tattoo too, which is kind of the, oh man. Everybody he runs into is part of this freaking organization. So Mark, appears again. He's just like, hey, give me control. And Steven's just like, no, I saw what you did. I'm never going to give you control again. And he's just like, I'm never going to give you control again, ever. Do you hear me? And then one of the walkie-talkies just like, I hear you loud and clear. Steve Grant from the gift shop. And it's the voice of the dude from I guess his name's Arthur. And it's the dude with the cane and the glasses, Ethan Hawke. So, okay, his name's Arthur, so I can stop calling him Ethan Hawke. Nah, I'm probably still going to call him Ethan Hawke. So anyway, he pulls the door open, and since Steven was leaning against it, he obviously falls out, kind of smacks his head. So Arthur Hawke gets him up, and he's just like, hey, Steve Grant, Mark Spector, Khonshu, it must be hard having all those heads, all those voices, go in your head. And he mentions that he used to be an avatar for Khonshu as well. And then the lights start, Steven sees Khonshu again. And Arthur Hawke, he's just like, hey, you can see him now, can't you? Because, Steven obviously freaks out. And he's like, oh, you can see him now, can't you? What's he saying? And he's like, what's he saying? And Khonshu goes, kill him. Crush his windpipe. And Arthur Hawke goes, he's telling you to kill me, isn't he? And then the wind picks up and things knock over and blow and lights flicker. And, Steven starts freaking out. And Arthur Hawke's just like, no, that's okay. It's all he can do. He can't do anything without you. And then he starts telling him about how, this part of the neighborhood used to be really terrible, but now he came in and everybody's, happy and doing great, because he came in and essentially cleansed the neighborhood with his, cane moving and, you know, killing all the people who would have done anything bad. And then they walk in and start eating some lentil soup, whatever the hell that is. And they actually have an interesting conversation about who is right, about which of the gods is right, you know, because he's saying, Arthur Hawks, he's saying that, it's funny, because Khonshu is going like, I only punish people who have, you know, done wrong, whereas the other one, you know, punishes people, you know, before they do something wrong. And Khonshu goes, I am real justice. And Arthur Hawk goes, what's he saying now? I am real justice. And Steven's just like, can you hear him? And Arthur Hawk's just like, no, I was just the guy before you. And you know, they start talking about Mark Spector. You know, Arthur Hawk's just like, hey, can I talk to him? He's just like, no. And they actually start to have an interesting conversation about which of their gods is right. You know, which of the ones is right. God, I get so confused with the names and stuff. So anyway, I'm just going to call Moon Knight's and Ethan Hawke's gods. Okay, so Moon Knight's god he's basically saying that, you know, Moon Knight's god, he only punishes those who have already walked down the path of evil. You know, they've already, you know, it's already too late. The punishment comes too late, you know. And you know, Arthur Hawk's god, you know, she punishes those who have, before they do something bad, you know. So it's like, you know, but he makes one thing I disagree with. Well, I disagree with a lot of that, but he says this point about how she's eliminating the choice for evil, which I don't know about all that. But if I've talked about this before, if you eliminate the choice for evil and like your only choice is good, then it doesn't, you know, making the right choice doesn't really, you know, it doesn't matter. It was the only choice that you had, you know. Having that choice to do evil or to do good makes doing the good, you know, it makes each of those choices more impactful, you know. So then he asks him like, hey, where's the scarab? And that's when everybody else in the place like starts to get up, and like, you know, they all start to get up and kind of surround him. And, you know, then Arthur Hawk, he talks about like, you know, the scarab, you know, helps us find her tomb, and we're gonna, with her help, we're gonna eradicate all of evil, and it's gonna be a heaven on earth. And then, so he's like, so the scarab, you know, where is it? And Steven's just like, I don't have it, you know. And Arthur Hawk's just like, hey, you know, what about Mark? Does he have the scarab? You know, or maybe you know someone who does. You know, can I speak with Mark? And, you know, Mark's just like, you know, you hear Mark's voice like, you know, coming through the reflections. He's just like, hey, you know, don't give up Layla. You know. And then Arthur Hawk, he's just like, hey, you know, he's like, you know, Mark, if you can hear me, you know, don't trust Khonshu. I'm sure he's told you that it's going to be the last thing, you know. It's going to be the last job. It's going to be the last job, but it's not. There's always another last job. You know, basically telling him like, hey, you know, Amit's playing you. You know, he's not gonna. You're always going to be doing something more for him. And then Steven he says that, you know, hey, if Amit judges people who haven't done anything wrong, you know, isn't she judging an innocent person? And you know, he makes a point about like, you know, a thought can't be evil, and he's like, oh, I think about killing my boss all the time. I wouldn't actually do it. And then Arthur's just like, you know, and then he's like, you know, what about a child? You know, would she kill a child if, you know, based on the fact that they might do something wrong in 30 years, you know? And Arthur's just like, I'm glad you mentioned that, you know? And he talks about how sometimes cure is like a taste of the disease, you know? And sometimes the only difference between medicine and poison can be dosage, you know? And this and that. And talks about like, a deformed limb, amputating a deformed limb and stuff like that, a diseased limb. And Steven's just like, yeah, but kids aren't a diseased limb. And he looks around at everybody else and he's just like, so wait, y'all are all cool with like, killing kids, like because child murder is where I draw the line. And Arthur Hawke's just like, he picks up his cane and he's just like, hey, do you know what this is? And Steve was just like, yeah, it's a cane. And yeah, Arthur Hawke, he starts talking about, no, this is a sliver of Amit's power. She gave it to her first avatar, and I don't want to use it. And Steven's just like, then don't use it. And Steven's just like, I can't help you, and Arthur's just like, hey, I need to know where the scarab, where is the scarab? And that's when we just hear Layla yell out of nowhere, because I guess she was still tracking his phone, or I don't know, or maybe she followed them in the car or whatever, but she appears out of nowhere and is like, I have the scarab. And she starts walking up, and Arthur's just like, you don't know what's going on, you don't know what you have, give me that. And Khonshu appears behind Steven, and he's just like, Mark, fix this, do this. Do this. And Layla walks up to Steven, and she's just like, hey, summon the suit. And he's just like, what? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. And then so she's like, fine, I'll get us out of here. And so she grabs him, and they start running out. And then Arthur takes his cane and like smacks it on the ground, and we see this purple light appear and all this. And Layla beats up this guy and tosses him off. Speaking in Coptic, I don't know what Coptic is. So anyway, Layla, grabs Steven, and she runs into it's literally like a storage thing for mummies, like where they store mummies and Egyptian stuff, I guess. She cornered them. She trapped him. She led him into a corner. And so anyway, we see the purple light sort of go down, and one of the jackal's hands, comes up. So he sent another jackal after him. So Layla, we hear, come up against the door that they're in, and Layla's just, telling him like, hey, Mark, come on, your name is Mark, listen to me. You got to do this. Put on the suit up, bring it out. And Mark is just, yelling at him in his reflection, like, let me in, Steven, let me in, we do this, you need to fight, I can do this, let me save you, like he did in the last episode. And Layla's just like, hey, Steven, you can do this, you can do this. And Steven's just like, I can't, I'm sorry, I can't do this. And she's just like, it's all right, it's okay. We'll just find another way. And she starts looking for another way out. And that's when the jackal bursts in. And Steven's just like, oh, jackal! It's a jackal! Jackal! Is it a jackal? I'm sorry. Anyway, and Layla's just like, what jackal? And she looks, and that's when we find out that she can't even see it. He's the only one who can see it. And it comes and like knocks him out of this window. And Khonshu's just yelling, summon the suit! And he's just like, oh, falling out. And he's like, what suit? And he smacks his head against a pipe like Harry Osborn in Spider-Man 3. And then we see him land. He smacks his head. And then he falls and he's suited up. But then, and I'm pretty sure this suit's like from the comics. I've seen it before in like stuff with Moon Knight. And it's pretty funny because he lands like, I'm a badass. And it's like, oh, he fell over. So, like I mentioned, that suit is from the comics, but I don't know anything about Moon Knight or any of this. I recently learned that they do have different personas that have been Moon Knight, which apparently Stephen Grant is supposed to be like this rich playboy, almost Bruce Wayne type of guy. So I think that might be his suit. And it's funny, he gets up and Mark is just like in the reflection, still wearing the same thing, and he's just like, Steven, what are we wearing? He's just like, what the hell are we wearing? Steven's just like, I don't know. She said I needed a suit, and he's just like, yeah, the ceremonial armor from Khonshu's temple, not Psycho Colonel Sanders. Like, and he's just like, well, I don't know how this shit works, man. Like, I do think I look sharp though. And he's just like, "Where's the scarab?" And he pulls out, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, oh yeah." And he pulls out these little like screama sticks. It looks like. So he's just like, "What are these?" And while he's dicking around, a fucking jackal lands on him and attacks him, and that's when Layla comes around. She climbed off the roof, and we just see it's a pretty interesting fight that I'm sure was really easy to really easy to animate because the jackal is completely invisible for most of it. So it's literally just him like getting pulled around and like yanked and like whoa, oh shit, fuck it. So she's trying to help him, and like she throws a bottle and So anyway, he's just fighting, having this invisible fight with this thing, and that takes up like the majority of the rest of the episode, and it's it's really cool because we actually get to see Steven kind of sort of buck up for like the first time we've ever seen him, because he's kind of getting his ass kicked for a second, and then Mark's just like, give me control, you can't do this, and then Steven's just like, yeah, I can, and he gets up and he takes the like jacket off. And he's like, all right, come on, you ugly coyote. And he rolls his sleeves up. And he's like, all right, come on, come on. And he the jackal jumps at him and he just punches the shit out of it and knocks it. And he's like, oh, yeah, you just got planted. And we actually see him like man up, It's funny because he's in the middle of the street in London and there's all these people around. And they're like, what's going on? Do you think he's having a seizure? And they're just like, nah, I think he's drunk, because he's just like, which I'm not even kidding. That is actually how he's throwing punches. Remember, this is probably the first fight Steven has ever been in his entire life. And it's against a jackal, like a demon jackal. So anyway, he gets kind of knocked around again by the jackal. And he gets up and Mark's just like, hey, that was a good hit, But if you don't let me take control, like he's like, look around, all these people are here. If you don't let me take control, someone's gonna get hurt. And so Steven's just like, all right, take control. So he lets him have control, and that's when he goes into the Moon Knight armor, the ceremony armor of Khonshu's temple, and he does this thing where he sort of takes, okay, that's what he's doing. Okay. And you can see the jackal. The jackal kind of got knocked over and other people, but no one can see it. So they're just like, what the fuck is going on? So when I first saw this, I was like, what did he just do? I thought he like took something off his thing. He's got these little moon shaped things. And it's like when he takes one off, like, it's like an infinite thing. Like, I guess they just, like, spawn more of them. Now, I don't know why he did that. Because he doesn't really, like, use them. He just kind of Layla looks at him and she's just like, get it out of here. And he runs away. But I guess it was just to show that he can do that. Because I think that's something he does in the comics. I'm not sure. So, yeah, when I first saw it, I was like, what the hell did he just do? So, anyway, he runs off and he's like, taken off up the wall building, and just trying to get this thing out of here, running away. And he kind of does. It's really cool to actually like see him like run around. We see the moon in the background. Obviously, I guess that's why it had to be nighttime. Like, because he was gonna have to be. They wanted to do that. That thing in the middle of the day where I guess have the cops come to his house in the middle of the day. They should have just had all of that happen. Like, had him go check out. Like look for the storage unit at night, because then it would like all of this would have happened at night, would have been perfectly fine. But I guess they wanted to have like the scene, like the motorcycle scene during the day or something. I don't know. I don't know. I just don't, because they had to have this scene at night. So I don't know. I guess he would have had to have been sitting somewhere for a few hours or whatever. But anyway, so like I said, we see him running around at night, with the moon in the background. It's pretty cool. And then he does something pretty awesome. He's just like, all right, just a little bit further. He's got the jackal chasing him. And then he runs. He's just like, all right, that's it. Just a little further. And he jumps. And he like catches the jackal off guard. And he picks it up and he stabs it down onto a freaking spike. That is just a great. Like, I don't know if that's something from the comics or something, like if he did that, but that is a cool shot. And you can see like under its chin, that's one of the little crescent moon things that he picked up, and you see he does this. So I gotta keep pausing it and stuff. He like stabbed it in the neck and it starts disintegrating away, and he like, whoosh, and then I guess he just puts it back on. I don't know how those work. So then he takes the suit off and he starts looking for the scarab, and it turns out he lost the scarab, and it's just like, on the ground over by where he fell off, I guess, where he was fighting. And Arthur Hawke, he picks it up. Well, actually, a homeless dude picks it up, and then Arthur Hawke walks over to him. And he's like, "Hey, that's mine. That's mine." And then he's like, "I wish, I I have, I can give you food and shelter and all this, but except that, that's mine." And then he's like, "I wish you could live to see the world we're gonna build." And he takes his hand, and the guy just dies. I guess he would have done something bad in the future or whatever. So he's got the scarab now, and Layla sees him get the scarab, and she just kind of rides off. Because I don't know, I guess, she rides off because she's like, I guess she can't take him, because he's got the stick or whatever, the stick of destiny, kind of whatever. And then then it cuts back over to Mark, and he's just kind of sitting there, and we hear Steven. And now Steven is on the other side of the mirror, and he's just like, is this, he's just like, what is this? Is this how, like, this feels horrible, Like, I feel like I can't even move. And Mark's just like, just breathe, you'll be all right, And Steven asks him, like, how long have you been doing this? He's just like, a long time. And, Steven asks for his body back, and he's just like, hey, just give me my body back. And he tries to take it back, but, Mark tells him, like, you can't, like, whoever's in the body now is stronger. So, like, and then Steven's just like, you're the one who's been messing up my life, You've been eating it away, I lost my job. I can't keep a goldfish alive. Which apparently, that's what, like, apparently, all the, like, that's why his goldfish didn't regrow a thing. He had to buy new ones because they keep dying. So Mark kept having to buy him new ones, which is kind of sad when you think about it. Oh, poor fishies. But yeah, Mark's just like, look, once I'm done, I'll give you your body back. You never hear from me again. Once I've paid my debt to Khonshu or whatever. And he's, and Steven's just like, hey, all that blood is on my hands too. Which, in the first episode, it literally was. He literally had blood on his hands. But anyway, Mark mentions that Khonshu wants Layla as his next avatar. And I'm just like, why? Why would he want her? What's the respect? Like, I mean, I guess you can, I guess you can read hieroglyphs, but I don't know. I don't get it. I guess it's just that's possibly something that Khonshu was just telling Mark, just to keep him as his avatar. Just tell him like, oh, if you don't, if you don't keep helping me, I'm gonna have to look for another avatar, and who I have my sights set on. So he could just be, tricking him, because I don't see any conceivable reason as to why he would want her. I mean, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't, but I don't know. So I think it's just Khonshu's just using that as like to keep him on the line or whatever. So Steven mentions like, oh, you hurt people, you abandon your wife, and he's just like, that's when Mark's just like, no, I didn't. I did that to protect her, and that's when he mentions like Khonshu wanted her as his next avatar and stuff, and Steven's just like, I don't believe you. You're a liar. I'm not gonna leave you alone. I'm not gonna leave you alone anymore. You'll never have a moment of peace. I'm not gonna let you hurt anybody else. And basically, he's gonna keep bugging him, and that's when Mark just snaps, and he's just like, shut up, and he just starts kicking the shit out of the mirror, breaking it. Yeah. He shatters that, and then that's when like the wind picks up and all the chairs move out the way, and that's when Khonshu tells him like, he's like, hey, you said Steven wouldn't interfere, and Mark's just like, I'll handle it. And Khonshu's just like, you've already proven that you can't, you've altered the terms for our agreement. Arthur's got the scarab now. So you're gonna have to, and Mark's just like, all right, well, we'll find a way to get to the tomb, and we'll get it back. We'll get there first. So then Mark's just like, where are we going now? And Khonshu's just like, where the hell do you think? And then it cuts to him getting drunk in a hotel room, and he walks over to the curtains and he opens the thing, and we see the pyramids of Giza thing. So they're in Egypt now. They're in Egypt. It's gonna be interesting. Now we've gone from London to Egypt, and that's how the episode ends. And like I said last time, I'm interested to see where they're going to go with this. Because again, Moon Knight's a character that I know nothing about. So, yeah, we got to see this interesting episode. We got to see who Layla was. We learned that she's, was his wife. She's helped him. She's helped Mark Spector anyway. She's Mark Spector's wife, and she helped him, try to track down the scarab. She knows about the suit. To what extent she knows about like Khonshu and being his avatar and stuff like that, I don't know. I guess we'll figure out more about that as the series progresses. Which I think this is all. I know this is only a limited series. I think it's only 6 episodes, so we're almost halfway through. We're already a third of the way through the series. So, but yeah, I'm liking it so far. I think it's really good. I like how she didn't come in and just like kick everybody's ass and save the day. No, she was literally like, hey, put on the suit. I can't do all this shit on my own. I need you to put on the suit. You're more powerful. You can handle this. I like that. I like how she didn't just come in and girl boss everybody. Like, she beat up one guy, and she beat up and kind of threw like one guy, but I didn't see anything wrong with that. Like, I didn't see any problems with that. So yeah, so far Moon Knight's doing really good. I can't wait to see the next episode. It's doing good so far. Like, I feel like they're really about to, now that we got to see Moon Knight, we're starting to see Moon Knight do some Moon Knight stuff and kick some ass. So I think we'll probably get to see more of that. Hopefully we'll get to see more of that in the next episode. And I just hope that this series doesn't just drop like a lot of the other all of the other Marvel series have ever since, like, that they've been putting out. So yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about this. I thought it was a good episode. Can't wait to see the next one. if you like this video, leave a like, share, subscribe if you want to keep seeing more content like this. If you didn't like this video, tell me why. Thank you for watching this far. And yeah, I have been Apocalypse the Geek Guru. You can follow me on Twitch, and I'm on Twitter a little bit. Right now I'm streaming during the day, which is day right now. I'm streaming the Halo series. I'm on Halo 5 right now, playing through Legendary. I'll leave a link for those down in the description. And at night, I'm playing through the Arkham series, just because I want to. And I'm also reviewing tomorrow I will be watching and reviewing the Halo abomination that is the Halo TV show. So, alright. That's all I got for today. Bye, everybody. Thank you for watching.